What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. If you ask me, the Lakers are interviewing the wrong head coach, or at least one of them anyway. Right now, the reports are the Lakers are interviewing former head coach Terry Stotts of the Portland Trail Blazers. And also a good sign, though, is they have given an interview to Mark Jackson as well, which I said Mark Jackson definitely should get a nod for a coaching position. This guy has definitely put together a great team in Golden State, and they wouldn't be as good as they are if it wasn't for Mark Jackson and the pieces he put together, getting Clay and Draymond and, getting the pieces that he got for the Warriors at the time to make them a really good team. The team they became now, and just Steve Kerr just took over that good situation. But as for the Lakers, I don't think Terry Stotts is the answer. He couldn't do nothing with a young Damian Lillard definitely in his prime. And, I think they had LaMarcus Aldridge back then, too. Wesley Matthews. I mean, they had Nicholas Batum back then. I mean, they were a lot younger back then, granted, but he could never do nothing with the Portland Trail Blazers. The years that he was there, they just always underachieved to me. Always have. And to me, his coaching style just isn't good enough to win championships. So if you ask me, I think it's a bad move for the Lakers to even look at a coach like him, because his history just isn't what it comes to. It just doesn't come down to him winning. His history says he's not a winning type coach. And don't get me wrong, it's hard to win in the NBA. It's hard to win in any sport. It's hard to win championships. It's not easy, because if it was, everybody would have a championship. It's the reason why a lot of great players go their whole career and don't never have one. So I definitely understand that. Definitely not trying to diminish or anything like that, but to me, that's just the wrong move. He's not the right coach. He's not the right one. He's not the one that, the Lakers need to go after. The Lakers are trying to win a championship, and that's all it is. They're not trying to just make the playoffs. They're not trying to, just be a play-in tournament team, even though at this point that would be good for them since they actually muffed and missed last season or this past season. But regardless of that, they're built to win a championship. And with all the players they have and the 3 top 75 players they have on their roster, it's all about winning a championship. It's really not about anything else. So to me, Terry Stotts, definitely not a good coach for them. Definitely not the coach that they need. And honestly, when I think about him, just watching how he coached the Blazers, it looked like he never really had that locker room. It looked like he lost his locker room with his guys at some point, or maybe the whole time, who knows. But it just seemed like the guys that played for him were just playing for contract. They weren't playing to win. And that's what I'm saying. When you have somebody like him who doesn't, really have that winning drive or winning ways about his coaching, you're not going to go anywhere as a team. You might make the playoffs, and that might be about it. Now, that's all the Lakers want to do is make the playoffs. Terry Stotts can get you that. He can get you to the playoffs, I believe. But at the same time, when you look at the Lakers' issues, of course, defense is the biggest one, but one of their biggest issues, they don't really have a leader in the locker room. You see what I'm saying? And a coach, you need a guy who's a leader. You need a guy who can lead men into battle, and the men feel confident fighting for that coach and fighting for themselves every single night. And Terry Stotts doesn't put me in that mind state. This is the reason why I said somebody like Mark Jackson would be better, because he has a voice. He has a undeniable voice. You know what I'm saying? Almost like a preacher, a pastor, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? He has a type of voice where he can say things to get to you in a way to make you understand and make you want to go out there and fight for him. And you fight for each other and fight, to win. You see what I'm saying? And that's what the Lakers needs. Lakers need somebody with a voice in the locker room other than LeBron James, who's just trying to, be the voice in the locker room. But at this point in time in career, he can't, because he can't lead a team the way he used to. He can't put a team on his back the way he used to. So his voice is still good. LeBron's voice is still valuable, but it's not as valuable because he can't lead by example anymore. So now you have LeBron speaking in the locker room probably. Now it's good to have a coach who can back him up and, mimic what he's saying. And on top of that, actually not even really back him up, but you need a coach in the locker room who speaks with that validity and that voice that can get the players going, get them that energy, get them that confidence. You see what I'm saying? And that's because that's not LeBron's job, even if he does probably do that at times, but you need a coach that can do that. And so to me, Mark Jackson, I'm so glad they're interviewing him because he definitely deserves an interview. And honestly, if they had to pick between the two, I definitely would go with him over Terry Stotts. Terry Stotts is just not a winning type coach, and you're not going to win championships with him, I don't believe. Now, of course, there's some other names out there that might be interviewed as well. I think Adrian Griffin, I believe he used to play for the Dallas Mavericks way back in the day. I remember him as a player. Darvin Ham, I think he's from the Milwaukee Bucks, one of the staff members on there. He used to be a player too, of course, back in the day as well. And you had some other candidates and things like that. But, as for the most part, I think they definitely should go, the direction that they're going right now. And I also heard reports also about Mike Brown. He was also a pretty decent coach one time. I remember with Cleveland and everything like that. He was a pretty good coach as well. He actually coached LeBron before, a long time ago. So, that would be like, a pretty good homecoming there if that was able actually to happen between those two specifically. I always thought Mike Brown was a pretty good coach. He's another guy I felt like had a good voice in the locker room when he decided to use it and get his players going, motivated. And he was a real easygoing type guy as well. So I feel like a lot of players respected him when they played for him, especially in his Cleveland days. He had his struggles and everything like that, but I still think overall he's a pretty decent coach. I would take him over Terry Stotts, me personally, but like I said, of course it's up to the Lakers, but right now, based upon the names that I've said, I personally would go with Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, to me, gives the Lakers the better chance to win and gives them the better overall confidence to win because, like I said, he has a voice. He's one of those type coaches where when he speaks, players listen. You see what I'm saying? So, and he's one of those leader amongst men type guys. And those are the guys that you respect so much because you feel like you're not just playing for a coach who's just trying to, do his job to get a paycheck. You feel like you're playing for a coach who really believes in you. And that's the reason why I believe coaches like Ty Lue on the Clippers get so much respect from his players and get so much out of his players. Even the players that are not even star players, even the role players play so well for Ty Lue because he provides a comfortable environment, but he's also stern at times when he needs to be. And he's also not afraid to get in your face when he needs to, if he needs something out of you. And he has expectations of you as a player, but he shows the confidence and belief in you that you can do it and that no matter what nobody else says, you're his guy. You're the guy that can get the job done. And when you come across like that to players, I feel like that helps a lot. And that's what the Lakers need. The Lakers need somebody like that because the way this team played a lot of games last year, they lost a lot of games last year off of not giving effort. And see, that's the one thing I feel like you can't teach. You can't teach effort. You have to go out there and either play it or you don't. And like I said, the Lakers didn't play with effort. They didn't play with confidence. And by not doing that, it came back to hurt them. And it hurt them badly, throughout the season. Because there's a lot of games where the Lakers had an opportunity to win those games and they just fell short because they didn't play with the energy and the confidence on both ends of the floor like they were the better team. They played a lot of games like they had the most talent on the floor, but they didn't play like the more hungrier team, the team that was more desperate to win. And when you have a coach like a Mark Jackson, he's going to get that out of you. He's going to push that out of you. And even though LeBron James is not the player he was, LeBron would be even more motivated probably to play for a coach like that. So would Anthony Davis. So would everybody else in the locker room. You see what I'm saying? So, and Mark Jackson, he's another one of them type coaches, just like Ty Lue. He'll get into his player's face and say what he has to say. Like somebody like Russell Westbrook, he'll let Russell Westbrook know, listen, you're screwing up. You're doing this wrong. I expect you to be better. If you're not going to be better, I'll bench you. And Mark Jackson's that type of guy. He will get in your face and tell you what you're worth. And you have to like it, love it, or leave it. That's just the way it is with him. So, even though, he's a really good guy, really good coach. I always liked his demeanor. I even love listening to him as a commentator, but he's one of those guys who earns respect from his players because he wants the best for them, but he also wants to get the best out of them, which is the same thing and the same strategy Tyronn Lue does for the Clippers, which is the reason why the Clippers made it as far as they did this year, basically without Kawhi and PG. Nobody thought they would even make a play-in tournament without those two players. And a lot of people didn't know whether they were going to make it when Paul George in the lineup by himself without Kawhi Leonard. So, I mean, with all that being said, you got to look at it from the standpoint of you got to have the right, pieces in place. And I feel like, the Lakers, I feel like they should go that direction with him, because definitely the Nick Nurse situation is out. The president of the Raptors basically made that statement that that's a joke. That's probably not ever going to happen. And then, the Phil Jackson thing, I think that's just far-fetched. Like I said, his coaching style is too outdated for this type of era of basketball. So I don't really feel like he can really do anything with the Lakers. And like I said, that triangle offense crap, that doesn't work, because he tried to implement that in New York and they failed that season more than ever. He probably should have never implemented that triangle offense, and maybe the Knicks would have been a little bit better that season. That's back when they had Derrick Rose and Carmelo Anthony. So this is my point. Like, the best option that they have right now going for them really is to go with Mark Jackson. And it really is. Now, they get Mark Jackson, I like their chances a lot better of just being an overall better team, because the effort, the energy, a lot of things you didn't see from the Lakers this past year, you will see if Mark Jackson's on there. Now, I'm not saying they're going to win a championship because Mark Jackson's there. They still got some maneuvering to do, whether adding some pieces or maybe even, convincing Russell Westbrook come off the bench with the second unit, whatever the case may be. But I mean, they'll be a lot better team in regards to just their focus, their intentions on the floor, their energy, their effort, and just in their intensity, how they play. And you'd be surprised, there's a lot of games that goes by where teams win a lot of games off of energy and effort. In an 82 game season, you're not going to win all those games off of talent. You're going to win some of them games off energy, effort, doing the little things to win. And that's what helped build championship characteristics. So hopefully the Lakers make the right decision. A lot of drama going on in Lakerland right now, but one thing that can ease it over a lot is having that coach in the middle that can smooth things over. And I think Mark Jackson is the man for the job. So hopefully they give him the job. And like I said, I'd like to see him coach again, honestly. So I'd like to see exactly how that pans out. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.